All right, I think that we are on. So I want to welcome everyone to our Monday night forum, our Facebook forum. I'm very excited. My name is Allie C. Sanders, and I am your host and founder of Marriage Ready Believers. So I want to welcome everyone and come on in and get situated. Please share, like, and tell. We have some very vital information to share about the new auto insurance reform law. So come on in and share, like, make sure that you're sharing and liking and telling others. We invite men and women to our forums. We want to make sure that everyone is educated on what's happening with the new auto insurance reform. We're also going to be talking about some other things as well. So we're going to just wait a few minutes for some more individuals to come on in with us. All right. Let's see here. Welcome, Cassandra. Welcome, Jonah. Welcome, Kathy. Thanks for joining us. We're very excited about tonight. Last week, we talked about love and relationships. This week, we're going to talk about and focus on business. So keep coming in, and we're going to get started shortly. I'm so excited to bring on our guest today. Very, very excited. Welcome, Kimberly. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, Brooke. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, Kimberly. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, Auntie. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started. So we have individuals coming in. Hey, Kathy, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you invite, like, and tell others about what's going on this evening. We are so excited. We're going to learn some very vital and important information about auto insurance. And not just that, we're going to talk about life insurance. We're going to talk about health insurance. We're going to talk about everything that has to do with insurances tonight to make sure that everyone is not only properly educated, but we also want to make sure that you have the proper policies and protections and securities in place. That's real, real important. We all know that we're coming out of COVID-19, and we found out that a lot of people didn't have their business affairs in order. So we want to make sure that individuals' business affairs are in order. Welcome, Dexter. Welcome, Reese. Welcome, Kimberly. I see you guys coming in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Monday night forum. And I am so excited. My name is Allie C. Sanders. I am your host, and I'm also the founder of Marriage Ready Believers International. So I want to get started. I'm going to introduce our guests, but just to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. Again, I'm Allie C. Sanders, the founder of Marriage Ready Believers, and we are a Christian-based initiative that is designed to help the unmarried cultivate a new mindset of love and expectancy for marriage, for love, for relationships. And the way we go about this is we holistically empower the unmarried. So we don't say that we're single anymore. That word doesn't exist anymore. And I'll give a little bit more history about that. But we holistically empower you by providing monthly and or weekly forums that speaks to relationships. As you know, last week we spoke about love, relationships, dating, and marriage. So this week we're going to speak to business. We speak to spirituality, credit, finance, family, health, the holistic you. And these are all essential attributes that, will actually attract healthy, loving relationships, right? So we want to make sure that you are empowered, not just on the spiritual side. So many people always think about just the spiritual side of you. Well, you're more than just a spirit man, right? So you want to make sure that the holistic you is empowered. So I'm just very, very excited to bring on our guest, Michelle Sims, and I want to share a little bit of information about her. I'm so impressed now. I've actually been knowing Michelle. Geez, we've been at the same ministry. She's been there 31 years, and I've been there since 1991. So what is that, 31, 30, something like that? And I'm so excited because I didn't even know all of this. I knew she was set apart, and I knew that, she had it going on, but I didn't know all of her bio, her pedigree. And so I'm so excited to share that with you today because she just really does have it going on. I mean, she's done some amazing things. Michelle uh, has an overall tenure with State Farm of 34 years. Michelle has been a skilled agent owner for 24 years. And I'm sorry, Facebook fam, I got to read this because there was no way I could memorize all of her skill sets and her attributes, but I'm just so impressed and I'm so happy to know her. Michelle has a strong belief in providing exceptional customer service. Michelle is the youngest in a large family. She was raised in a very loving Christian home where both parents were pastors. Welcome, Stan Clark. Michelle is accomplished academically and has completed several degrees. She has an associate in architectural design, a bachelor's in English, and an honors master's in organizational management. You go, Michelle.
Thanks.
Michelle has a vast love and huge heart for volunteering. Now, this I do know about her. She has educated youth on their driver responsibilities. She has taught English to children where English was their second language. Michelle is a devout disciple member at Great Faith Ministries International for 31 years strong. Of the 31 years, Michelle was the head usher over the usher department. Now, y'all know about them usher departments, right? Well, Michelle was the head usher. She was the head honcho, right, over the usher department for 12 years. She also sung in the choir. She tutored the youth. She was a part of the decorations committee and also the hospitality committee. She was a catechism counselor, and Michelle was awarded Counselor of the Year. So she's pretty big time, not just on the professional side, but you can see that she's pretty vast on the spiritual side of her life as well. Michelle is also well traveled. She has studied abroad in Spain, traveled to Brazil. You got me beat. I thought I was well traveled. South Africa, Germany, Bermuda, Hawaii, Aruba, and several other Caribbean islands. Michelle's hobbies include traveling, reading John Grisham books, crocheting, event planning, and decorating. Michelle's mission is to help people manage the risk of everyday life, recover from the unexpected, and help people realize their dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, Michelle is very accomplished. She is grounded spiritually, personally, and professionally. She's the real deal. She's the complete package. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, especially the gentlemen, she is a marriage ready believer. And what does that mean? Simply put, she is a believer who is ready for marriage. We are no longer single, but we are marriage ready believers. So again, Michelle Sims, welcome. Thank you so much for being a part of our Facebook Live. We are so excited to have you. And what I'd like to do is I want to kind of dive right in because I know our Facebook Live is generally only about an hour, but we have a lot of ground to cover. And I have some questions. And for all of the Facebook family that is out there, we do have her website in the news feed. So if you go on there, you'll be able to see her website. We also have put her contact information and all of that, so you can make sure that you can contact her afterwards. But I want to kind of dig right into some of the questions. And these were some of the questions that people have already emailed me and some of the questions that they had in regards to this new auto reform law. Now, I have paper here that my agency, my insurance agency, emailed me and basically tried to break down what that all means, right? So I want to go right into the questions. And Michelle, the first question that we do want to ask you is this new auto reform law just for Michigan, or is it for all of North America?
So first of all, thank you for having me, and to all the marriage ready believers, God bless you. The law is just for Michigan. It is
Okay.
Michigan reformed their law last year. The governor signed it into a law that became effective July the 2nd of this year.
Okay, July 2nd. Okay. Okay, wonderful. And can you provide, and I know there's an extensive amount of information about this law, but can you provide like a brief overview or snippet of this new auto insurance reform? Because honestly, I didn't even know about it until my mother first told me. She was like, you know, Allie, we got a new law that's coming out, and we have to make some type of call to action. I had no idea. And so can you give our viewers a brief snippet of what that looks like?
So the law, some of the majors that where you have to come in and make those decisions. One is the bodily injury portion of the law. So
Okay.
bodily injury means liability, bodily injury. I become liable for injuring someone as a passenger, pedestrian, or a driver, and so they sue me. So in Michigan, we have minimums. So we had a 20,000, meaning up to $20,000 one person, and then a 40,000. So the ban was 2040 or 2550. That those two bans were gotten rid of, so they're no longer available. So if you're carrying those at your renewal, you will have to change those to the new minimum, which is 50,000, 100,000. The state has made a suggestion that all drivers carry at least 250,500. That is your choice, though. But the minimum
Mhm.
that you can now buy is the 50,000, 100,000. So that's one portion of it. The second
Mhm.
portion is the personal injury protection. So everybody has been talking about unlimited. So before under PIP, we had about four choices that you could have. You could have unlimited, you could have two types of coordinated unlimited, and then an unlimited with a $300 deductible. Now we have about six choices. Actually, there's about 11 choices, but the major is now you can opt out if you
Mhm.
carry in Medicare A and B, you can opt out. You can have unlimited with no coordination. You can have unlimited with coordination. You can also, people said, hey, I don't want unlimited. Give me a choice. So we were given two choices. One is a $500,000 limit, and one
Mhm.
is a 250,000 limit. You can also medically exclude yourself. So if you have an underlying qualifying health coverage that will cover you for losses due to, and here's the big if, no fault, because Michigan is a no fault state. So a lot of people say, well, I just want no fault on my car. No, you in a no fault state. So it means that you can you can opt out, you can medically exclude yourself. So all of these are options. The next option also is if you're on Medicaid, you can carry 50,000. So you see we have about six majors that you can choose from.
So, with that information, now, Michelle, you said a lot. And for me, I know it can get kind of sticky, icky, because from an insurance background and perspective, you know what all of that means. When I go into my agency, I just need him to tell me what is the best fit for me and what does it mean for me. Now, you mentioned some exclusions, you mentioned the PIP. So, how do you break that down to an understanding that we all can understand? So, like, what should we choose and why would we want to exclude?
So let's just start with the first one. That's the pure opt out. If you are or if your health coverage is Medicare and you have both Part A and B, you can
Okay.
opt completely out. I believe the design was for seniors because they were making choices over insurance and buying prescription. The only
Mhm.
thing you have to be aware of when you opt out completely is in our insurance, there is attended care, house and car modification, in-home treatments, transportation. So when you opt out, you are opting out of all of that outside of your hospital visit, outside of your doctor's visit. So you have to be careful there because God forbid, but say you need a ramp on your home. That's something that will come under your auto insurance. But again, if you're injured in an auto accident, as three things: passenger, pedestrian, or driver. So I used to be a PIP rep. So I have did house modification. I have bought homes. I have bought a van and had to have it modified for the person that became handicapped after the auto accident. I have put people on lifetime medication. Even in this, I've been having a lot of appointments. So I had an insured in. 40 years ago, she got injured. So she's still treating. So that's the unlimited portion. Then we come to the coordinated portion. That portion allows a little break in price. Well, no, let's go to the, I talked about the opt out. So you got to be careful as a senior. Am I getting coverage from somewhere else that's going to cover this? Now, Medicaid doesn't cover everything, but I have had some seniors decide to opt out. The second one is unlimited. Unlimited says that my medical is unlimited. I don't have to worry about anything if I'm hurt in my car as a passenger or a pedestrian, then I have unlimited benefits. The next one is coordinated. It says that my underlying, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, so it would say that my Blue Cross Blue Shield would be primary if I'm injured in an auto accident, and then anything they would not pay, then my coverage, my coordinated coverage would then be honored by my insurance company. The next one is I don't want unlimited. I'm gonna take my chance, and I want to, I want my premium lower, so I'm gonna buy $500,000 worth of coverage. Once I reach that $500,000 in coverage, then I no longer have any coverage for that incident, or I can go down to 250,000, or I can go down to 50,000 if I'm on Medicaid. The other option is I can medically exclude myself if I want to not have any coverage under the medical. And medical excluding is almost like opting out. You lose some of the other benefits.
Okay, so let me go back to something. You said you gave many different features. You said the opt-out for seniors, and they generally will do that if they already have like Medicaid or Medicaid. Is that what you said?
Medicare A and B. Medicare.
Okay, Medicare. Okay, so they would typically opt out because are they saying that their Medicare would cover that? Is that what that is?
That's what Medicare will, but Medicare has, I have something here that came from Medicare.
Okay.
But it says the enrollee will remain financially responsible for co-insurance, co-payments, deductibles, and for any services Medicare does not cover, such as transportation to and from medical appointments, vehicle modification, case management service, residential treatment programs, long-term and custodial care and replacement services. It says, please see your Medicare booklet titled, Your Guide to Who Pays First. So again, it's a little homework there for the seniors. Yes, the price looks beautiful, but then opting out of something that you really, really need.
Right. So it sounds like to me, you've mentioned opt out for seniors, unlimited, which means medical is unlimited. And then you have the coordinated benefit, which means that it'll coordinate with your primary health insurance. And then you have it where you can buy different premium amounts, whether it's $500,000. And as you go down, you can actually lower your premium by doing that, and then you can medically exclude yourself. So in all of this, would you say that maybe the top two are the best ones? I know you can't tell people what to pick, but it sounds like to me, the two would be to either choose unlimited, where the medical is unlimited, or the coordinated portion so that it can piggyback off of your healthcare insurance.
That is correct. And I sent some of my insureds on assignments, and I said, call your health carrier. And I sent some of my seniors too. I said, hey, call and find out exactly what they cover. Don't say if I'm injured, will you pay? Because they're going to say yes. But say if I'm injured in an auto accident under the no fault law, what will you pay? That's a difference. There are exclusions out there. So there's one company we know that they say they're not going to start paying medical bills until you reach the 250,000 point. So you at least have to carry 250,000. So you need to basically call your human resource department and ask them exactly what are my coverages under the no fault law
For their health insurance.
for their health insurance. Exactly.
Okay,
Because
because that was
each each company is a little different. I mean, HAP is a little different, Blue Cross Blue Shield is a little different, so each company is a little bit different. I send a lot of my clients and they said Blue Cross said, oh, we're getting a lot of calls, because you need to know, you just don't look at price. I mean, it's wonderful. I've been an agent for 24 years. Some of the
mhm,
prices that I am seeing, I'm amazed. And I'm a
mhm.
Detroit-based agent, so I'm really amazed at some of the premiums that are out there. But again, are we making a wise decision? We're saving money, but is it that?
But what
Is that
happens?
exactly?
So I see the next question that's up here, and keep that question up there. But I do want to ask one question. So, what would be the exact language that when I call my insurance company, what should I be asking them? So, what should that question look like?
What what am I covered for if I'm injured in an auto accident?
Okay. So, Brooke, if you could type that in, what am I covered for if I am injured?
In an auto accident.
Okay. So,
What are my
ladies and gentlemen, mhm.
So they could tell you, well, we exclude, we don't exclude, we pay this, we don't pay that. You want to know exactly what they're going to pay if you are injured in an auto accident, and that's the big question. That's the big word, auto accident. Not if
and
I'm in.
then
Go
mhm.
ahead.
And then we can take that information and go to our auto insurance, our
There,
state farm bureau, and say, I called my health insurance and they said that this is what I'm covered for, right?
that's correct. I had a lady that actually, I had several people, but I had one for sure. This happened right before the reform hit.
Hmm.
She's her bills. She went to the hospital. Believe it or not, not she wasn't she just went to the emergency room. So the bill was $26,000 just to be seen in the emergency room. So
Wow.
her health carrier was Primary. And we had to get a letter from them, which they stated, yes, long as it was legal, we're going to pay it. So they were Primary, and any bills that they didn't pay then would be submitted to State Farm for payment, because that's the company I represent.
Okay. So let me ask you this. I have another question that I see in the news feed, and it says, if you opt out, can you reinstate if you change your mind? So if you opt out of this, can you come back and say, no, I know I need it now?
You certainly can.
Okay.
There's forms that have to be filled out, and we are either emailing them to you, State Farm
Mhm.
is, or we're either putting them in the mail for you. So I've had clients that before the
Mhm.
email hit, they changed their mind. So yes,
Okay.
your auto policy, you own it. You can do whatever you want to do. Today you can add coverage, tomorrow you can drop the coverage. But yes, you can. It's not
Okay.
at
Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. So you may have answered my next question. Let me just see here. I have, how does the new change affect seniors who have Medicare? Okay. So you talked about that. And then, if we forego the unlimited coverage, I think you talked about it, that there would be savings, but do we really want to risk that if we
exactly.
don't really know what we have and what we don't have on the insurance side?
Under your qualifying health coverage. Exactly. So you may be risking something that
Mhm.
you need, but you're
Okay.
giving it away because you're looking at price. And again,
Okay.
I've had some insureds get very, excited. You go from $191 down to $41. That's an excitement, but
Yeah.
you just strip yourself of everything. So you
Right.
have to be careful in that.
Okay. And this is strictly with auto accidents, right?
This
This
is
is
strictly auto accidents.
okay. Now, does it have to be a fatal accident, or they just get hurt, or it doesn't matter? Just accidents in
It's just
general.
accidents. They're, like the lady that was in my office, her accident happened 40 years ago. But
Hmm.
she still see a therapist, she's still seeing a surgeon, and it's still related to the auto accident. So as
Hmm.
long as it's related, because she had unlimited, medical,
Mhm.
then there is no stop to us servicing her, making sure
Okay.
bills are paid.
Okay. And so I want to ask this question, and this is something that they just typed in, and we'll get to the next question. Let me just see here. Oh yeah, you just answered that. If we forego the new change, would we be able to switch back at some point? And you said yes, right?
Well, you can't. Here's where you got to understand: you can't
Okay.
forego the change. It's a law, so you
Okay.
cannot go it. If you don't make your own decision, a decision will be made for you, and that's called a default. So if you don't make a decision for under your liability limits, your default is automatically at your renewal. You're going to get a policy that shows you they took you to 250,500. If you had coordinated medical, it's going to show our coordinated medical. If you had full coverage, it's going to show you. If you had unlimited PIP, I'm sorry, it's going to show that it's going to show the unlimited. So decisions are going to be made for you based on the law. So you have
So
the
a a
opportunity.
non-decision is a decision.
Right. A decision, if you forego it, like some people say, hey, one lady said, I'm not going to do nothing. I said, you don't have to. But when your policy comes to you, something's going to be, we're going to make that decision for you. And it's not State Farm. It's not Allstate. It's not AAA. It's the state of Michigan. It is the law.
Okay. And so ladies and gentlemen, we just heard it from Michelle. You have to make a decision. So there is a call to action that you have to do, whether you want to, medically opt out or exclude yourself, or whether you want to, get the coverage, based on what you can afford and what your insurance. Just make sure that you make a decision, because if you don't make a decision, Michelle said that a decision will be made for you. Now, let me ask you this. If a decision is made for me, can I change that decision that
You
was made
certainly,
for me?
you certainly can. I have insurance that the decision is made for. I call them in advance. We are calling my clients 2 months prior to. So in May, we were calling all of our July. In July, we're calling our August, and we're getting ready. In June, we called our August. In July, we're getting ready to call our September. Well, some of them have ignored my call, and then they got policy. They're like, oh, Michelle, what happened? I said, remember that message I left you? So
Mhm.
yes, you still can't change it, but I do tell them you can change it. So you can change it. Nothing's
Okay.
done.
Okay. And then I want to ask this question. We have a question out in our audience by Kimberly. She says, and this is a great question, because you know what? My mom, she always asks this question too. She's like, if you never get into any accidents, why can't we be reimbursed at the end of the year? Why can't we get some type of credit for good driving?
So because I don't own State Farm, but no, you do get some type of credit if you look at it. If you look at it,
Mhm.
we give accident free after so many years. So every company have their own way of giving back to you. If you look at Allstate, they say, say 40%. I think Progressive give you some type of discount. They all give you some type of discount. As to refunding you money, I haven't seen that happen, except for everybody knowing the COVID-19. All insurance carriers just about around everywhere gave money back. We had a Good Neighbor Relief Fund that our clients are now getting back. So, and that was from March 20th until May 31st. We gave a percentage up to 30% back.
Now, how do you go in? And that's my next question. Great segue into my next question, which was, my insurance agency did inform me that we were going to get a credit. Now, my mom, she got her credit a few weeks ago. She saw it on her bill. But how is that credit determined? And is that just with State Farm, or is that all insurance agencies due to the pandemic that they're crediting people back as a relief?
if you watch the commercials, you seen
Mhm.
that State Farm had a commercial. I believe Allstate had a commercial. I know Progressive gave money back just by us doing research, doing a little comparison as to what this company did versus what this company did. I can't speak for all companies, but I do know those three did. I believe AAA gave some money back also. So,
Mhm.
what they how they gave it back, I can't tell you. I can only tell you the inside of State Farm. As our commercial said, we're giving up to 30% back, and that was from March 20th through May
Mhm.
31st, when we were all either quarantined because I ran my office from my home. I sent my staff home with computers, and we just returned to the office June 15th. So
Okay.
that money.
Okay. And so there's no rhyme or reason as to how that credit, that adjustment is determined. It's just determined.
It's determined by the actuaries. For us, it was we are a mutual company, so you
Mhm.
own a small share of it. So it was given back as dividends of money that they gave back to you. So each company is different. I can't speak for those companies because I don't work for them and I don't have any inside.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, well, that's good information. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you check with your insurance agency about the COVID credit, the relief fund that I know State Farm has is a part of, and some of the other insurance companies. Just make sure that you check. Call them tomorrow and say, "Hey, are you all a part of that COVID?" And if not, hey, I would also encourage you to switch to Michelle. Michelle has been doing this for 34 years, 24 years as an owner agent. So she's been owning her own State Farm, and she's very well versed, as you can see, very well versed in the laws of insurance, car insurance, life insurance, mutual funds. All of those things can be handled by her office. So I would encourage all of the viewers to make sure that you give Michelle a call. Her phone number is on the website right now or up for you guys. And also, her website is within the feed as well. So you can even go on her website, but at least give her a call to see. Sometimes you do need to do that comparison, right? Just to see, if there's a better deal, to make sure that you're maximizing your discounts, which brings me to my next question. Michelle, can you kind of speak on, and I know this personally because I have several policies with my insurance agency. And so I know that the more policies you have, the greater the discount. But can you speak to other ways that our audience can maximize savings from having auto discounts or any other policies with their agency?
So the biggest one, and I when I'm talking about State Farm. I don't know other companies. I've only
Mhm.
worked for one company. So with State Farm, we have the multi-line discount where we give a percentage off, depending on the lines you have. So we give it if you have homeowners, we give it if you have life insurance. So it reduces your premium on your auto side. And if you do like homeowners or renters,
Mhm.
then it reduces both that homeowners or renters policy also. When you do
Mhm.
life, of course, there's no deduction on the life side, but it also affords you a deduction on your auto. There's a personal umbrella liability policy that's there also, and it there's a discount for that also.
Okay. So a lot of those policies that you mentioned, I actually do have, and I do get a really, really great discount. So my takeaway from that is, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to bring us to our next question, make sure that you have your business affairs in order. I cannot say this enough. Everyone needs to have life insurance. You need to have some form of disability. Now, when I was working in corporate America, I had the short term and the long term disability that I paid a few dollars for through corporate America. But I'll never forget, and this was 20 years ago. I don't know why, and I was young, but I was making good business moves. And it probably stems from my parents because they raised me right, right? And then not to say that just because you're not raised right, you don't have good business moves, but for whatever reason, Michelle, I end up buying a disability policy. Unbeknownst to me, I had to have surgery on my toe in 2004. And it was amazing. I had forgot I had the policy, was paying on it. I was off of work for about a month because they had to literally cut into my baby toe. I was on a cane for about 2 months. I had housekeeping services, and they paid me a check. I don't even remember what it was. I just know that I got so much value and benefits. And this is me young, not even knowing that, I was going to, something negative was going to happen. I was going to get sick or something like that. But it did. And that policy was amazing. And it was through State Farm. Now, I don't know if they still have those types of policies. I just know that I am big on having some type of disability, having a hospital indemnity, and making sure that all of your affairs in order, because you know what? We want to believe that, we are as healthy as a horse, as they say, but look at what just happened. Look at COVID-19. And some of the most healthiest people are under the grave right now. They're in the grave and they were healthy, but a lot of people didn't have their affairs in order. So again, my takeaway from that is I encourage everyone, call Michelle, ask her about the different policies, ask her what policies you qualify for and what you can do to maximize your discounts. And then Michelle, answer this for me. Can someone get approved for a disability policy or a hospital indemnity policy if they already have a pre-existing condition?
Well, it's underwritten to see if we can take them. It's not a yes, it's not a just yes or no. We look at
Mm-hmm.
the condition, what it is. It's the same thing with life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to the younger audience, the younger you are, the less your life insurance is going to be. The older you are, the more it's going to be. And start young, but I will also say to you, keep the policy,
Yes.
because I find that a lot of people, that's the first thing they let go. They let
Mm-hmm.
go of the policies that they need. For me, shoes is my biggie. So buy one less pair of shoes, but make
Mm-hmm.
sure your policy is taken care of. I'm
Right.
single. I'm not single. I'm married, ready believer. We got to
That's right.
correct our out of the mouth.
That's
But
right.
I have quite a bit of life insurance on myself,
Mm-hmm.
partly because I am a State Farm agent, but partly you need to own your own policy. You have to understand at work, if you lose that job, most of the time within 30 days, you lose that life insurance. So you want a policy that you own, that you can control. And the same thing with the health policy. I mean, there are several different health policies. I have the policy that Allie you're speaking of, and you go to the emergency room, it pays 5 times your benefit. So it is a good policy. I've used it once.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that expensive to have,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you just have to make sure. People say I'm insurance poor, but really you can't be insurance poor. You have to make sure, as you said, your affairs are in order, because we really just don't know. We trust God and we believe, but things happen.
Absolutely. And we have to be prepared. So we have to be here's what I always say. We have to be more proactive than reactive. We as people, we react when something happens, right? Oh my God. But you hardly ever see people being proactive to say when something happens, I'm so glad I got this. I'm so glad I got that. So, like you said, Michelle, it's very important, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot be insurance poor. Michelle, I want you to speak to the difference between a term life and a whole life for people that are struggling, people that really don't have the money, people that have underlying health issues and can only afford a term policy. I know the difference, but can you speak to that so that everybody, all of our audience can feel like, okay, I can go get a policy tomorrow to make sure that not only am I protected, my loved ones are protected too in the event that I leave here.
So I'll explain a whole life in a term like this. A term is like renting. So you rent for 12 months, or you stay at the place for 4 years. You have that same amount of money that is paid. The whole life is for the whole of your life. It's the mortgage. You own it.
I like
So
that.
the
Mhm.
the whole life is, this price is going to stay the same for the whole of my life. So until you make a transition, that price is never going to change. The term is you're buying for a term. So you may buy for a 10-year, you may buy for a 20-year, you may buy for a 30-year. But within that time, you can always convert that term into a whole life. So say I buy a 10-year term. In 10 years, if I'm 32, at 42, that policy is going to change. Now you're 42, you're going to see a jump in the rate because, again, the older you are, the more expensive it is. But say you're 32, you're just starting off in life, you're trying to get everything together. You're 27, 32, you're trying to make sure everything is correct. So you buy a 30-year term. It's going to buy you 30 years to make more money, to be able to convert that policy into a whole policy, so a whole life policy, so that you can afford it at that time. So that's really the biggest difference, is the price. I have clients that have 30-year terms, and I have one lady that her term just came up, and now she's considerably older, and she's like, well, I really can't afford it, but she had time in between to make that transition from the term policy to the whole life policy. So that's when you're buying a term policy, you're a new family, you're just starting off, you don't have a lot of expendable cash. But as you work and develop, you have more money. Again, where do you put as they say, where do you put your eggs at? You know what I'm saying? So where do you put your money? You can convert that policy and turn it into a whole life policy. But meanwhile, the term is good because you have something. If something were to happen to you, the hardest thing I find is when your loved one pass, and then you're worried about how you're gonna put them away.
Right.
Because there's nothing. That's the hardship, you already hurt. But now the frustration and more pain is, how do I put my loved one away? I want to put them away because I love them.
And that's so important. You said something, because so many people don't understand. And I always knew the difference between the term and the whole life, because my insurance agent, they were really good at explaining it to me. But I like that. Michelle said, ladies and gentlemen, term is renting. So it's like you're renting, you're renting an apartment, and whole life is your mortgage. So it's yours. You own it, right? And I love that. I never heard it that way. And that's a very great way to really understand. And for people that don't have a policy at all right now, and they're 50 or 60 or 70, wouldn't you say that term would be the best way to go? Now, here's the thing with term. So for me, term is good, but if I don't die, then I just paid all that money, right? And I'm not dead, and I'm gonna live until 100. But here's the thing: we don't know what our days are on the earth, right? So we have to have something in place. So I always tell people, and this is a joke, amongst my family, and I know they don't mind me saying this, but we all joke about it. And I always tell people, do not call me if something happened to you and you don't have life insurance. I don't want nobody calling me saying, Allie, we need your help. We need you to do this, because you know what? The same opportunity that I had is the same opportunity that you have, is the same opportunity that everyone has. And I see that across the board. And I'm not saying in my family, it's a joke within my family, because I want everybody to be covered. Get you a policy, but across the board. This is how, family members get into it, and they fuss and fight because somebody didn't have a policy. And then, they're trying to see, then they're on the GoFundMe page and, trying to do collections and things like that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just not the proper way. We are business people. We are marriage ready believers. How can you enter into a relationship or a marriage and you don't have a policy? That's important. That is significant. And you need to be checking to make sure that he or she has a policy as well. And then when you do have a policy, like Michelle say, I have several policies, so that when I do get married, that's an easy transition. You know what I'm saying? I know how I want my beneficiaries to go. I did that on purpose because I knew that I wasn't going to be unmarried for long. I know that I'm stepping into marriage. And so I want to have several policies so that my husband is taking care of my family, and also whoever else I designate, which would be my parents and things like that. So again, thank you, Michelle, for, really sharing that. And I want to ask you this. With people being older and say they don't have a policy and they do have underlying health issues, do you think that term is the easiest way to go because you're more likely to get approved as opposed to a whole life policy?
you can get approved, but again, price. Sometimes when we get elderly, we have, and here's goes to, making sure you're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But, especially I'll just speak for the Black audience
Mm-hmm.
right now. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we're diabetic,
Mm-hmm.
we're overweight, and so you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get a rated policy. You're going to get a what they call a rated policy. So I find that people do call sometimes, but the price, it prices them out. I would just say it that way, because they're like, well, I don't have $150. That's why I'm saying to you, if you young now, lock yourself in. If you can afford to get a whole life policy, if you can have a less snack, a less pair of shoes, we're not eating out as much, but eat out a couple of times less, just to make sure your affairs, because certain things are just important. And when
Mm-hmm.
we get older, we're not only looking at age, but we're looking at your health too. So sometimes that does price you out. I've seen that in my business.
And and I have to say this too. We as African American culture, we tend to rely on life insurance policies to make sure our family is taken care of. But and this is not necessarily about insurance, but we also need to have a savings, right? Because you see more in the Caucasian families that they may not have a policy because they have a savings, right? They have hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars saved up for their family where they don't really need a life insurance policy. So, with a life insurance policy, gentlemen and ladies, make sure that you have some type of savings. Even if it's just saving, $20 a week, you got to start somewhere. I was sharing that with a group of people that I was talking to before. Make sure that you're saving money. It's like you said, I'm a shoeaholic like Michelle. But guess what? We've been in a pandemic for going on 4 months. I, when I say I've been saving every penny, I mean, look, you can't, I'm not buying anything. I'm saving everything. But guess what? I was even saving before that because my parents have taught me well. My parents have always said, save your money, Allie, save your money. And then we go to a ministry where our pastors talk about
Yeah.
having some
Yeah.
money saved. It's important. We can't just rely on policies. Policies are good, but if you're still living, what good is a policy if you don't have money in the bank? And another thing that I want to add, don't put all your eggs in one basket. What do I mean by that? Don't put all of your money in the bank. And I'm going to just park that right there and let that marinate. Do not put all of your money in the bank, because if the bank goes down and you put in your ATM card and for whatever reason we have a blackout and you can't get to your money, what are you doing now? What other type of disposables do you have that you can get to that's like money? And people don't understand that. So, that's just a little bit of history lesson that I've learned down through the years, that you want to make sure that you have disposable income. Our pastor talks about having disposable
Yes.
income, have money in the bank, but you better have some money somewhere else that don't nobody know about, and you better have some disposable, whether it's gold, whether it's dinars, whatever that, Bitcoin, have something else to fall back on. And that's real important. So, Michelle, I want to ask you this. Is there a way to lower car insurance even when you have teenage drivers? Is there any way? Because I hear parents all the time saying, oh my God, I'm happy that my son or daughter is driving, but my insurance is going to skyrocket. Is there anything that they can do to help take away some of that pain?
There are certain discounts that would help. Drive Safe and Save is one of the State Farm's thing. If they're a good student, we give a good student discount. If the student is away 150 miles away from doing school, we give a discount for that. So there are certain
Hmm.
ways, just realistically, because they're young, the rate is
Mhm.
going to be high.
Mm,
I know
okay.
they want a new car, but I always say go buy them a hoopty.
Just so the rate can stay the same. Now,
No,
let me
so
ask you
the
this.
rate could kind of stay down.
So let me ask
I
you
mean, they
this.
can drive
If you,
any,
if,
you could drive any car, but they have to be rated on the car. So if they have to be rated on the car, you go get a car where you feel comfortable with an older model car, and put them on that car, because
okay.
there's a lot of students get licensed at 16, 17. You'll see the rate gradually drop the older they get, but
Mhm.
it's just high.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, and this is something I always wanted to know. So if you do buy your child a car at 16 or 17, can they get their own policy, or do they still have to be on their mom's policy even though they have their own car?
You can get their own policy. We're going to rate them anyways. It with
Okay.
at their age, at their attained age, even if mom and dad gets a car and they call
Okay.
and say, "Hey, our son have become of age and we want to,
Mhm.
put them on our policy. We want to put them on this car." We're going to rate them on that car.
Okay.
So
Okay. So basically, I mean, it's no shortcut around it.
no, it's no real short. I haven't seen a real shortcut.
Mm. So parents that have children, they just have to do what they have to do, right?
Yeah,
You just.
and here's a part of being responsible. If they're 16, 17, let them pay part of it and start
Mhm.
showing them the responsibility of paying bills, what life is really about. You want to drive, you want the pleasure of driving, you may have to help pay for the pleasure of driving. And I do have some
Mhm.
insurance that do that too.
That's
They may
good.
pay a percentage.
Hmm. So let me ask you this: can you explain for our viewers the difference between, uh, or explain, I should say, gap insurance, and when is gap insurance actually required?
So it's not required, but what gap, we don't sell it, but what gap insurance does is, so you buy a car and maybe, you pay more for that car than it's worth because of
Hmm.
where your credit is.
Hmm.
So you get in an accident, you total it out. The insurance company going to give you the fair market value of that car. So it creates a gap because maybe they paid all but $5,000 where you're going to get the $5,000 from. So the gap part is the part that come in and pay that difference so that that car is totally paid off and you can start afresh.
Okay. So you're saying State Farm? Is it called something else? I thought that there was another coverage. So you
We
don't
don't
have.
sell.
Okay.
We don't.
No.
Okay. Mm-mm. No, State Farm
Okay.
doesn't.
Is there something else? Is there another name for something similar to that policy or something like that, or no?
Well, there's stated value policies out there, and then there's like, I think it's, and don't quote me on this, audience, please, but I believe it's nationwide where they have a policy that you pay extra and
Mhm.
they will actually pay your car off. But that's some type of form of gap because
Oh, okay.
basically that extra amount you're paying is going to close the gap down to nothing. So
Mhm.
if the car is valued at, you still have a loan out for 20,000,
Mhm.
you're going to get 50. We value it at 15,000. Well, where's the other five? So that gap is
Mhm.
going to come in and pay that other five for you. So there are companies out there that does, I'm sorry, that does pay
Mhm.
that additional monies, but we don't do gap.
Okay. And can you also explain the difference between, I think there's two type of collisions. I think that there's broadside collision, and what's the other? Is it just regular
We
collision
call it
coverage?
standard. So
Standard. So
standard says regardless of fault,
mhm.
I'm going to always be responsible for my deductible. So whether
Okay.
I'm hit while parked, whether I'm rear-ended, whether I'm broadsided, I'm going to always be responsible for whatever deductible I chose.
Mhm.
Broaden says that I have to be 51% or better at fault. So that means that if my car is hit while parked, I take no responsibility for because I didn't, I'm just parked my car, someone come out and it's hit. Then that deductible is waived. So
Mm.
that's the difference. You may have your deductible may be waived, meaning that you're not responsible for it. So if I'm sitting at the light, someone rear ends me, I'm legally sitting, they rear end me, I'm waiting for the light change, then my deductible is waived because I carry broad insurance.
Mm. Wow,
But
that's
if I
great.
had standard, it doesn't matter. And then I would
Mhm.
go after them for my deductible, which is called mini tour.
hmm And so some years ago, and I'm glad you explained that. Some years ago, I did have mine switched over, and I also had my parents' insurance switched over because it was explained like that too. And we were, we are of the mindset we don't want to be held accountable for nothing if we don't have to pay a little extra now, so that we don't have to pay extra later, right?
Right.
So I'm definitely for the broadside coverage collision, which is a great coverage to have. Now, when you talk about deductibles, I remember when I had my first car, I got an Escort GT. This was back in the 90s, and you couldn't tell me nothing. And so, when you're young like that, you get these real high deductibles so that your insurance premium would be low, right? And
Right.
so I think back then my deductible was like, I think I'm saying it right. It was like, I think it was either 500 or 800 or something like that. I mean, that's a big amount to come up when you're young, right?
Right.
The takeaway would be to have a lower insurance. So can you kind of talk about that, and what is the advantage and the disadvantage of people getting $1,000 deductible, knowing that if they get into a car accident, they can't come up with $1,000 because they just want that low insurance premium?
Well, sometimes that's the case, but I have had my clients say, "Hey, I'd rather you self-insurance." So the more you self-insure, the lower your rate's going to be. So if I take $1,000, I'm self-insuring for $1,000. I'm saying, "Hey, if my car gets into an accident, then I'm going to pay the $1,000." Versus having maybe no deductible, maybe a $50 deductible, because that's your rate is going to be reflective as to what your deductible is. That's part of what's going to cause that rate to either go up or down. But
Mm,
I find that in doing broad insurance, it's not that big of a difference between the standard and the broaden. And sometimes the 500 and the 1,000 it isn't that big of a difference either.
mm. Okay, okay.
So it's just
And
something you can look at.
mhm. Do you find that some people, now that credit is a factor, so let me ask you this, they now check credit for insurance, right? For car insurance?
Yes.
What are they looking for? Because can a person with, bad credit, negative credit, still get auto insurance at a reasonable price, or do you have to be at a certain score level? What does that look like?
Well, that's a hard one because they say credit show a propensity of loss, your accidents. Um, I don't know that I'm a firm believer of it yet.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's a hard one, but credit is a part of the scoring. It does not affect your credit rating, but if you
Right.
look at the bottom of your TRW, it'll show that an inquiry was made. So it
Mhm,
is a part of what actuaries use to determine rates.
mhm. Okay. Okay. And then my last question as we wind up is, I know a lot of people don't understand the whole renter's insurance, and I know some people don't even have renter's insurance because they never thought that they needed renter's insurance or what have you. But can you talk about renter's insurance, and what amount should a person take out for renter's insurance? Is it based on the value that's in your apartment,
Yeah.
the amount of cash that you have on hand? Like how does that pay out if like the apartment building burned down? What do you get out of that if you have renter's insurance?
So I had a case where the apartment did burn down. So
Mhm.
renters insurance cover your items. So it's your clothing, it's your electronics. And some people rent homes, so sometimes you have appliances in there. So
Mhm.
it covers all of that. So it's just like, if you had a fire, if you had a theft, only certain things go under theft and money, because money is a limit in theft also. But if you have someone come in and take something out of your apartment or the home you're renting or leasing, so you want your belongings, taken care of. And it also affords liability. You have a party in your house, someone gets hurt, they sue you. So it's those types of things that renters insurance, also cover. So it is a smart thing, and really it's not that expensive. It really
Mm.
isn't.
So if somebody comes in your home and you're, $500 come up missing and a diamond ring.
Money again is a limit because money is something you can't track. So there's going to be a limit on the policy as to you're not, I have $50,000 in here. Well, you're not going to get $50,000 back.
What do
So
they get? What is it, like 1,200 or something, or is
I
it?
think it's more than that. I don't recall, so I don't want to say something that's not correct because each company
Mhm.
may be a little bit different as to how they handle the cash, but it's very low. It's not a
Mhm.
high amount on money because
Okay.
it's just the fact that I could call tomorrow and say, hey, somebody came here and took $15,000 of mine. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Money is one of the low things, but there are other claims out there that happen. You could have a water loss. The neighbor could, fall asleep, leave the
Mhm.
water on, and it drips down into your apartment, damage your furniture. So it's a whole lot of things that could happen outside of just money being taken.
That's good. That's good. So, Michelle, as we wrap up, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being, our guest on Marriage Ready Believers. We're very humbled and honored that you came on. Like I said, I knew you and I know you from the ministry, but I did not know that you had such a diverse background. And I can see why you are like a shiny, bright star because you are
Wow.
so you are so um, you're so diverse and you just know so many things. And it's not just in the insurance world, you've lived, you know what I'm saying? And so that speaks volumes to who you are and you being, not only loyal to your family, but loyal to our ministry, loyal to our pastors. And so we just want to say thank you, thank you for being on this show. Thank you for imparting into us all of this knowledge. I mean, you didn't ask to be paid. You didn't say, how much am I going to get for being on your
Right.
show? You just came on as a humble servant. And I really appreciate that because we as Marriage Ready Believers, we need to be whole holistically, not just spiritually, but we need to have all of our affairs in order. If you're dating someone, gentleman, a woman, and she driving dirty, then you need to step back and take a look at that, or either have her call your insurance agency, which should be Michelle Sims. Same thing
I'll
with
take
women.
it.
Right, women, if you dating a guy and he fine and everything, but he driving dirty, or he ain't got nothing in place. I mean, it should be more than just the physical. We got to make sure that our ducks are in a row. And so, Michelle, I do appreciate you coming on. And before everyone leaves tonight, I do want to ask you, Michelle, from your professional standpoint, what would be the call of action? Give us a call of action right now. Share with us what we need to do at this juncture on July 6, 2020, as it relates to the auto reform law, and what should our call to action be? Something that's simplistic that we can all pick up the phone tomorrow and say, you know what? I learned this on the Marriage Ready Believer show. Michelle Sims said to do this. What should our call of action look
I
like?
think the call to action is to educate yourself as to really what your insurance company, your underlying health coverage, what
Mm-hmm,
does it really pay? Because
mm-hmm.
that's going to afford you the opportunity to make an intelligent decision
That's good.
as to what coverage you should carry. Also,
Mm-hmm,
for all of you that are riding dirty and say, hey, I don't want to be in high risk, we're in the amnesty period. So the amnesty period is for a year and a half. You can walk in anywhere and get you some insurance. So they're giving you 18 months the opportunity to get your ducks in a row, get that tied down. You know that you feel safe when you're driving. You're not looking like is a cop behind me because I don't have
right.
insurance. And you can walk into any agency without proof of prior insurance and get you some insurance. So those are the two things I would call to action is to educate yourself with your own coverages as to your qualifying health coverage. And also, if you're not insured, go out now while the door's open and get some insurance.
And that's on all levels, Michelle, not just auto insurance, but if you don't have life insurance, get that as well. If you don't have any type of disability, get that as well. It's time now to make sure that we're protected on all sides. And Michelle, again, thank you. We're definitely going to have you back What I want to do right now before everyone gets off as well is we want to talk about some upcoming events. Michelle, we had already shared with you what they are, but we do have a big event that's coming up, Marriage Ready Believers, on Saturday, July 11th. It is our Walk It Out event, and it is on our Marriage Ready Believers page. It's called Walk It Out in the Park. Now, listen, I know if you're anything like me, you've been enjoying this time. You've probably been eating a little bit too much. And I know I've been indulging a little bit too much. And so it's time to get rid of those pandemic love handles, right? And get fit with Marriage Ready Believers, because, you know, a fit brain is a healthy brain, right? A healthy brain is a fit brain. So we want to make sure that we're keeping our bodies healthy. And even if you're just starting and you've never really walked before, everyone will be able to walk at their own speed. But for everyone who registers, if you go on the Eventbrite at Marriage Ready Walk, I think it's marriagereadywalk.eventbrite.com. We'll put that up in the news feed. But if you, go to that and register, you're going to get a free prize. We are doing free prizes and giveaways. And we understand that for us that belong to our ministry, that is the Sabbath for us. But that's why we're doing it early, because our services don't start until 12:30. So we're going to be up and at them at 7:30. It's going to be social distancing. It's a beautiful park. You will not be near anybody. So the COVID is not going to jump off on you. I walk every day, 5 days a week, and thank God I am blessed and, healthy. But that's why you want to wear masks when you're walking or what have you. So we're going to have masks for sale. We're going to have custom shirts for sale, but we're also going to be doing free prizes and giveaways. We're going to have a social distance meetup and mingle. This is not just for women. This is men. Marriage Ready Believers is about men as well. So it's not just women. It is men as well. Invite the men, invite your friends. Okay. Because guess what? I always say, when you're on the track walking, you never know who you may walk into. It's not about somebody in passing. You don't want to cross paths. I always tell people, don't speak that and say, I can't wait till I cross paths with him, or I can't wait till I cross paths with her. No, you don't want to cross paths. You want your path to meet. So a lot of times it's about tweaking our words and what we say, because our words have power. We eat by the fruit of our words, according to, I believe, Proverbs 18. It says that we eat by the fruit of our words. So we got to make sure that we're saying the right things to get the right reactions and to get the right results. So we hope that you'll join us on Saturday. If it rains, we will send out a message, but I'm already praying for good weather. And again, it's going to be early in the day, 7:30 a.m. You want to be there for the free prizes and the giveaway. And then we're going to walk from 8 to 9. Then you get to go home, get your shower, and get ready for your Sabbath Saturday, for our Sabbath Saturday service. And again, invite men, invite women, all are welcome. We're going to be doing social distancing. If you've never been to Canton Park, it is absolutely amazing. It is beautiful and it is huge. So trust me, COVID is not going to pop on you, okay? You're going to be okay. Just come and fellowship with us, and it's going to be a fun time. And then I want everybody to stay tuned. Save the date of July 22nd. Mark this down, July 22nd. Guess what? Marriage Ready Believers is having their first virtual turbo dating or speed dating. Yes, we want to be hooked up. Even in the pandemic, you can be hooked up to your boo, okay? Don't let the pandemic fool you. Don't let it stop you, because God can work inside and outside the pandemic. That pandemic means nothing to Jesus. And so we're going to have our first virtual speed dating. It's going to be so fun. Now, I've done speed dating before in person, so I'm even more excited about the speed dating that we're going to have virtually. And yes, you're going to be able to see the men, and you're going to be able to see the women and have that quick conversation. Then you're going to move to the next room. So we got it all planned out. We are so excited. So make sure that you tell a friend. Now listen, this is for the unmarried. Don't married people, don't be tipping into our speed dating. You are unavailable. You are locked down. This is for the unmarried. This is for the marriage ready believers that are looking for love. We all want love. We all want to experience love. Love, it's no fun going through life, being successful and accomplishing things, and you don't have someone to share it with. And I believe that God is going to honor us. God is honoring marriage ready believers, and he's going to honor us, because guess what? We're putting our best foot forward. So again, save the date for July 22nd. And then again, make sure you register. You want to register for July 11th. Please register. I need to know who's coming. And if you register, you will get a free gift for registering. So again, I look forward to seeing you there. Michelle, do you have any last thoughts? Do you want to share anything?
No, I just hope that the information that I gave you will really help you make the best choice for you and your family. And just don't always look at price, but look at coverage also. Yes.
Absolutely. And Michelle, we again appreciate you. Girl, you got it going on. I'm gonna just say it. You the bomb.com, .org, .net. Okay. And I can't wait till God blesses you with your husband. I know I'm not even gonna say it's coming. He's already here, and you and his path will meet. And I thank you for your dedication, your service to our ministry, us as sisters. And I just appreciate all that you do. And thank you so much for being on. So with that being said, we are going to sign off. We thank everyone for being on this forum. Stay tuned for the next forum that we're going to have. And don't forget, we are going to have that part 2 of a male's perspective, okay, on relationship, love, and dating. We're just gathering that up, but we are going to have a part 2 on that. So just stay on the Marriage Ready Believers page, because that's where all the information is outlined. Thank you. Have a blessed night. Be safe and stay healthy. In Jesus' name, see you later. God bless you.